The first principle foundation. Elon Musk does not begin with fear, he begins with physics. He strips any problem or ambition down to its fundamental, undeniable truths. Before considering if something is risky, he asks, is it physically possible according to the laws of failure? His analysis might show a 70% chance, which, given the stakes, is worth it. Embracing public failure as a forcing function. He uses the fear of public failure. He creates the first principle foundation. Elon Musk does not begin with fear, he begins with physics. He strips any problem or ambition down to its fundamental, undeniable truths. Before considering if something is risky, he asks, is it physically possible according to the laws of the universe? If the answer is yes, the challenge becomes one of engineering, not existential doubt. Fear as a data point, not a stop sign. For Musk, fear is a signal, not a verdict. The feeling of fear, of bankruptcy, of rocket explosions, of public ridicule, is acknowledged as a valid emotional response. It is then immediately cross-examined. What, precisely, am I afraid of? What is the worst-case scenario? And is that scenario survivable or reversible? The calculus of necessary risk. He employs a mental model of risk calculus. If the thing we're trying to do is important enough for the future of humanity, then failing to try is the greatest risk of all. The risk of stagnation becomes greater than the risk of failure. Founding SpaceX, despite the high probability of total loss, was deemed necessary because the risk of a single planet species was deemed unacceptable. Visualizing the worst case in detail. Musk doesn't shy from the abyss. He stares into it. He vividly imagines the worst possible outcome: factories idled, companies in bankruptcy, public humiliation. By mentally walking through this scenario, he demystifies it. He often concludes, I would still be alive. I could live in a small apartment. I could recover. This reduces fear's paralyzing power. The hardest problem bias. Musk is magnetically drawn to the hardest problem in the equation. If he's building electric cars, the hardest problem isn't the design, it's the scalable, affordable battery. So, he focuses relentlessly on the gigafactory. By solving the core constraint, the peripheral risks diminish. Fear is bypassed by obsessive focus on the critical path. The probability tuning. He openly dismisses conventional, gut-feeling probability assessments. People's perception of risk is not aligned with actual risk. He recalibrates probabilities based on data and first principles. The public may see a 90% chance of SpaceX failure. His analysis might show a 70% chance, which, given the stakes, is worth attempting. The head in the stars, feet in the gears method. While the vision is cosmic, making life multiplanetary, his risk mitigation is granular. He doesn't just fear rocket failures. He goes to the factory floor and touches the metal.
He sleeps on the production line.
This hyper-attention to minute details makes a colossal, frightening mission feel manageable, one bolt at a time. Embracing public failure as a forcing function. He uses the fear of public failure as a motivational tool. By announcing audacious deadlines and goals publicly, like sending people to Mars, he creates a societal expectation. This external pressure counterbalances the internal fear of inertia, turning embarrassment into a fuel for execution. The iterative blow-up philosophy. At SpaceX, failure wasn't a possibility. It was a design phase. The early Falcon 1 rockets blew up. Musk's mindset: test, fail, learn, iterate. Each explosion was not a catastrophe, but the world's most expensive and effective physics lesson. Fear of a specific failure evaporates when that failure is budgeted for as a learning cost. 10. Sleepless nights as a strategic tool. He accepts periods of extreme dread and anxiety as the price of entry. During the 2008 financial crisis, as SpaceX failed and Tesla nearly collapsed, he described it as like chewing glass while staring into the abyss. He didn't seek to avoid this feeling. He accepted it as evidence he was on the necessary, difficult path. The multi-company hedge. His portfolio of companies acts as a meta-risk strategy. While each company is high risk, they are diversified in mission, transportation, energy, space, AI. The knowledge that a breakthrough in one could help another creates a psychological safety net, a sense that even in failure, there is forward momentum for his overarching goals. Reframing fear as excitement. Musk leverages the biological similarity between fear and excitement. The pounding heart before a rocket launch isn't just anxiety, it is the raw energy of a historic moment. He consciously attempts to reframe the somatic response, channeling the adrenaline into focused intensity rather than paralysis. The contagious certainty. He understands that his relationship with risk sets the culture. By demonstrating a calm, problem-solving demeanor in the face of potential disaster, he models the behavior for thousands of employees. His apparent fearlessness, a carefully managed projection, becomes a strategic asset, steadying entire organizations. The long-term time horizon. Musk operates on a century-scale timeline. The fear of next quarter's earnings call pales against the vision of a Martian city in 2100. This telescopic perspective makes short-term, conventional risks seem trivial. It's easier to endure the fear of bankruptcy when you're building a cathedral for the next century. Direct, unfiltered information flow. To combat the fear born of ignorance, he dismantles corporate communication barriers. He demands direct emails from any employee and walks factory floors unannounced. By having the rawest, fastest information, he reduces the risk of catastrophic surprises, replacing the fear of the unknown with, often grim, certainty. Momentum over perfection principle. He fears stagnation more than imperfection. A good plan executed now is better than a perfect plan next year. This bias for action creates momentum, and momentum creates its own risk-reducing gravity. Problems are discovered and solved in motion, not in endless, fear-based planning cycles. The existential why. His ultimate antidote to fear is a purpose so vast it consumes fear's fuel. When the goal is the preservation of human consciousness, the personal fear of looking foolish or going bankrupt is rendered insignificant. The mission becomes an immune system against petty anxieties. Post-risk rationalization. After a risk is taken and a crisis passes, Musk immediately integrates the lesson. He doesn't dwell on the fear felt. He documents the engineering or strategic flaw that caused the crisis. The emotional experience is converted into a line of code, a new procedure, or a design rule, transforming trauma into a permanent asset. The normalization of the audacious. Through repetition, he has trained his mind to see the audacious as normal. Sending a sports car to orbit the sun, drilling tunnels under cities, implanting chips in brains, these are not scary, crazy ideas to him. They are simply the next items on the to-do list for shaping the future. Fear is neutralized by familiarity. The final equation. For Elon Musk, the final calculation is simple, yet it requires superhuman conviction. If the probable good is monumental for civilization, then any personal fear or financial risk is a negligible input. The story of risk and fear ends not with their elimination, but with their subordination to a will bent on making a dent in the universe. He doesn't conquer fear. He outmaths it, outworks it, and ultimately outdreams it.